You're listening to The Moose and the Loose, your 10 minutes action-packed financial podcast with your host, Mikey Hu. Hey, what's up, Market Moose? Mike from the Moose on the Loose. Welcome to Retirement Friday. And actually, this time it's going to be a fun Friday, I would say, because we are going to talk about how to plan your trip using artificial intelligence. I've been using ChatGPT. You can use any other AI language. You don't have to pay for it. That's the great part. You can do it with a free version of any of those AI language model. And I got that idea because at Retirement Loop, not too long ago, we got a Looper show where like almost monthly, sometimes even more than once a month, we have like those presentation and we talked about like different types of stuff about retirement, investment, and this time was about like traveling. And that was great because we had like a great panel of loopers, so members of the show, of the membership that were part of the show, to explain their best trip about traveling, how they plan, how they use like different like type of points and stuff like that. So that was like a very interesting panel, and we had like people going from like cruises, all inclusive, and then renting hotels, and then renting Airbnbs, all the way down to backpacking travel, and also Kevin. That's amazing. The guy, he's traveling so far and often, but he does that on his bike. That's just amazing. It shocks me. So it's just like super great. So hey, Kevin, I know that you were nearby Granby not too long ago, so I just want to shout out for you. So one other thing that I wanted to mention was to talk about using AI. And there are a lot of things that you can actually do to make your trip a lot better and save a lot of money as well, because literally you can now use ChatGPT as your own travel agent. And like, no offense to travel agencies, but I was able to plan a lot of my trips as of late using ChatGPT, and it was just better than what I used to do before. And I never used that much like travel agencies, because I think that planning my trip, do like running through different scenarios and opportunities, it's part of the trip itself. So I just feel a lot more excited to do those kind of research. This kind of like a hobby, and this is usually where you're good at saving money on something, is when it is a hobby for you. So I don't see that as work. I actually enjoy like reading blogs, going to Facebook group, but now I've kind of like found that amazing shortcut to just use ChatGPT, so a bunch of stuff. So here are a few examples of like what I've did so far over the past 2 years and how it planned out. So the first thing that you can do is, actually we're going to talk about like 1, 2, 3, 4. I have like 5 things that you can do with ChatGPT. So the first one, you can create a custom day-by-day itinerary. So I did that the first time with Iceland. Last year, I went to Iceland, and my plan was to rent an RV, tour the entire island, so do the full circle, not just the golden ring, but the entire ring around the island for 10 days, and then stay and like 3 more days in Reykjavik. So I asked ChatGPT, and what I did is I explained the situation. So instead of like just going something very summary and say, yeah, like you built me an itinerary for like 13 days and I want to drive across the thing. So what I did is I wrote a complete prompt with more details. So I said, we are a family of 4, 12, 17, 42, and 44-year-old. We are active. We enjoy hiking, doing outdoor activities. We will be on a vacation trip in Iceland for 14 days. We will rent an RV to visit the entire country for 11 days. I want an itinerary that would allow us to tour Iceland day by day. Do not spend time in Reykjavik in the itinerary. We will pick up the RV in Reykjavik, but I just want the RV itinerary for 11 days. So it was quite precise. And then, of course, I had to add a little bit more detail details. But what I really enjoyed is ChatGPT got me within 2 minutes a day by day itinerary with the drive time from one place to another, the highlight that I can see, and where I could camp. Because I told it I had an RV, so I wanted to know which campground I could go. And what is great is once I had the itinerary, I can like discuss with ChatGPT saying, yeah, I don't want to see like 12 waterfalls, like pick just like 3 or 4, and then we're going to do something else with that. So anyways, went super well, saved a bunch of time. And then when I double check using Facebook groups and everything else, well, I pretty much covered all the essentials or anything that was of interest for me. The second way that I've used it is to find lodging and by either by vibe or by budget. So where to stay. This time it was a little bit like I did that a few times around, but the one that was the most useful so far was for my trip in Peru that is coming up in a week actually. So the thing is with Peru, there are some places that are not as safe as others, right? So you want to know a little bit more about the vibe and the security for each neighborhood in bigger cities like Lima or Cusco. So I asked ChatGPT once again about the vibes, the pros, the cons everywhere, and depending on what I wanted to do with the activities. And it was able to scan the overall environment and give me the right list to where I should select my Airbnb or my hotel, so that again saved me a lot of time. You can do exactly the same process for restaurants. You can ask it to create restaurants. It's going to give you a great list as well. Very easy depending on like your favorite food, like type of food, budget, and so on. And one thing that my wife loves is to have like checklist and packing lists, right? So now instead of like creating one every single time that we go on vacation, well, we just make a list of like everything that we are doing, and then ChatGPT is just going to rack up the packing list for me. It's going to take like 2 minutes, and then there's not much else I have to add. One thing that I've done recently when I was in Martinique as well, which I really enjoyed, was, you go to a French island, you want to chill out by the beach, but then when you get to the beach, like there are so many people, and then just like, yeah, can I find something that is a bit quieter? So, which is not always easy to find by your own, right? But here's the thing. You can actually ask ChatGPT about hidden gem beaches, for example. So that's what I told it. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for like something with fewer tourists. I want to chill on like a small hidden gem type of beach. Can you recommend a few? And then it put me a list. And what was great is when we tried those, they were actually empty or barely like any people. Like one day we spent a day on the beach, and I think we saw like 20 people on the entire day. So that was just amazing, knowing that you're on this island. Everybody is like actually looking for a beach without seaweeds on top of that, because at that time there were like some beaches with seaweeds. So I also asked ChatGPT, like, find me beaches with no seaweeds right now, because it kind of suck, right? Like the smell and the feeling on your feet. And that was like super easy to find just with a few interaction with the AI model. So now I know that if you have not used AI that much, you're probably going to get a lot of frustration. And I gave like tons of tips to my loopers on how to use ChatGPT the correct way, and even more about like planning your trip. Because if you just say, yeah, I'm going to Portugal for 2 weeks, give me an itinerary, give me restaurants, it's not going to be that good. So among all the tips that I've provided my loopers, I want to share one with you, and it's to drive a conversation with AI. I know it feels kind of awkward at first, but treat it as you were chatting with a travel agent, and then you're going to, it's going to maybe take you like 1 or 2 hours if you're not like familiar with it, but you can enter into that conversation and ask it to modify the options, give it more information, and then you're going to get a better trip for your travel. So I hope that you will use it the next time that you go on a trip. If you have any other tips as well, just go on YouTube, share those tips with us. It's just going to be great to help other people to use more technology to get the best trip ever. I just love traveling, so I found that was a great way to kind of create shortcuts and making sure that I'm doing the right stuff. And so far, it has been great. So, all right, so that's it for today, Moose. We're gonna talk again on Monday, and until then, don't forget to stay invested. Hey, welcome to the disclaimer. If you're listening to The Moose and the Loose, you cannot really expect me to give you buy or sell recommendation or financial advice, right? You're here for fun, you're here for information and some entertainment. But I am not your financial advisor, I am not your broker, so therefore I'm not liable if you're losing money after listening to the podcast. If you're looking for some advice, go see a professional. If not, you can enjoy the show and do your due diligence after it.